Good evening to all. Good evening to all. I hope I am audible to you. Good evening to all. I hope I am audible to you. Good evening to all. I hope I am audible to you. Good evening to all. I hope I am audible to you. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. So today we are going to discuss the biochemistry of carbohydrate. We have already seen biochemistry of carbohydrates. So after that we have seen the drugs used in the diabetes, and now we'll discuss the biochemistry of lipids, and then we'll discuss the hypolipidemic drugs. So that's my passion, to explain you about the GPAT. You might understand until. So today we'll discuss this biochemistry of lipids from GPAT Niper point of view. Whatever is important for GPAT Niper and DI Pharmacist, from the lipids we'll discuss. So again, one of the important topic for examiner. So you may expect one or two MCQs, one or two MCQs in the GPAT exam every year. Twice the questions in the Niper from biochemistry of lipids and its metabolism, right? So once we finish this, we will be able to complete 4 chapters from biochemistry, because we have already seen the carbohydrates and its metabolism. Actually these two topics are separate in your syllabus, but I have combined those topics and I have explained you, right? So biochemistry of lipids. Nowadays lot of chaos is going on about the lipids, fatty acid, good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, atherosclerosis, and that, but I don't want to go in that part. But whatever is important for your GPAT Niper, as well as whatever is important in your life that you have to understand, I will explain that points. Okay, so first of all, what do you mean by lipids? What is the technical definition of lipids? If you go in the references, you will find this. What do you mean by lipids? Technically lipids are described as organic compounds which are relatively insoluble in the water, soluble in the organic solvents, but they are related to esters of fatty acid. What are the esters of fatty acid? So lipids are nothing but the organic compounds, water insoluble, soluble in the organic solvents, and they are nothing but the esters of fatty acids. जो ऐसे फैटी एसिड होते हैं, मतलब सिंपल एसिड क्या होता है आपका? फॉर्मिक एसिड, एसिटिक एसिड, प्रोपियोनिक एसिड, ब्यूटारिक एसिड, है ना? जैसे ना, है ना, आपका मीथेन होता है, इथेन होता है, प्रोपेन होता है, ब्यूटेन होता है ना, पेंटेन होता है, वैसे ही, है ना? if there is only HCOH, it is a formic acid. CH3COH, acetic acid. CH3CH2COH, propionic acid. Likewise, that if you increase the number of carbons, so name of that acid will change. Oh, fatty acid means what? Fatty acid means more than 4 or 5 carbons. Now they are the esters of fatty acid. Now they are esters of fatty acid with the glycerol. So glycerol or other alcohol. So organic compounds insoluble in the water, soluble in the organic solvents, and related with the esters of fatty acids, esterified with the alcohol. Okay, now classification is important part, and you have to understand classification of lipids. So lipids are having various functions in the body, and lipids are very important for your skin, they have protection. So there is a fatty layer around your vital organs to prevent that organ from shock. So they are having different functions, so they will not ask you about the functions of lipid in the body, but okay, they are the reserve food of life also. You know, they are a part of your cell membrane. They are also part of your nervous system. They are also cholesterol is also part of. Then they are also part of some derived compounds. So organic compound insoluble in the water, soluble in the organic compound, soluble in the organic solvents, and they are the esters of fatty acid, alcohol. Now classification of lipids. Lipids are also known as a reserve food of life. Reserve food of life. Why lipids are known as a reserve food of life? Because we have seen the carbohydrate metabolism. If you have glucose in your blood, then it will be oxidized to meet the body's ATP requirement. बॉडी का जो एनर्जी लगता है आपको एटीपी के, वो एटीपी कहाँ से आता है? ग्लूकोज से आता है. But suppose if glucose is not there, then glycogen will be broken down. But glycogen कितना है? Glycogen storage capacity of your body is limited. So we have already seen that. So if there is no glycogen also, then your body will start metabolizing your lipids. Body will metabolize the lipid, body will break down the lipids, and there is a generation of acetyl CoA, and acetyl CoA combined together reverse glycolysis, and then glucose will be made. So ultimately glucose is the energy and is a sugar fuel of life. So lipids are known as the reserve food of life. Remember, reserve food of life question already आ चुका है. Reserve food of life is a lipid. Now lipids are described or derived or divided into different types. Lipids are divided into different types. First class will be a simple lipids. So lipids can be divided or classified into 3 simple lipids and complex lipids and derived lipids. Simple lipids मतलब क्या है? Simple lipids, they are simply esters of fatty acid with alcohol. Simple lipids means simply they are esters of fatty acid with the alcohol. Esters of fatty acid with alcohol. So in that also there are 2 subclasses: fats and oil and waxes. Fats, oil and waxes. Simple lipids में क्या है? They are the esters of fatty acid with the alcohol. तो पहला आता है आपका fat. What do you mean by fat? Fat means solid. Fat is a solid at a room temperature and oil is a liquid at a room temperature. तो जो fat होता है वो solid at a room temperature and oil is a liquid at a room temperature. So the main difference being the chain length of your fatty acid. जो fatty acid रहेगा इसमें, उसका जो कार्बन चेन है उसके ऊपर डिपेंड है. अगर वो कार्बन चेन लेंथ ज़्यादा है तो फैट आएगा, कम है तो लिपिड आएगा, ऑयल आएगा. Fats are solid at room temperature, oils are liquid at room temperature, and both are the esters of fatty acid with the glycerol. Esters of fatty acid with the glycerol. Oils also known as a triacyl glycerol. Lipids are also known as a triacyl glycerol. Triacyl glycerol. So fats and oil, that is the main difference कि fat is a solid at room temperature, lipid और oil जो होता है, देखो lipid is a common term for oil or fatty substance or waxy substance, but lipids are divided into 3 types. Lipids are divided into three types. Lipids are classified into three types. Simple lipids, esters of fatty acid with alcohol. भी दो fat solid, liquid होता है, that is oil. Oil is liquid, fat is a solid at a room temperature. Both are the esters of fatty acid with the glycerol. Now waxes. Wax क्या होता है? Beeswax, बाकी कोई wax. Waxes are nothing but again they are the esters of fatty acid, but the fatty acid is usually long chain fatty acid. Esters of long chain fatty acid with the alcohol other than glycerol. तो फैट्स एंड ऑयल्स में अल्कोहल कौन होता है? ग्लिसरॉल होता है, बट वैक्सेस में ग्लिसरॉल नहीं होता है. इन द वैक्सेस esters of long chain fatty acids, they are esterified with the cetyl alcohol. Cetyl alcohol is the most common in the waxes. तो फैट्स मतलब क्या है? They are the solid at a room temperature. Oil मतलब क्या है? They are the liquid at a room temperature. Both are the esters of fatty acid with the glycerol. And waxes क्या होता है? Waxes are nothing but they are also esters of fatty acid but long chain fatty acid with the cetyl alcohol. इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन आ चुका है. Which alcohol is common in the waxes? Which alcohol is common in the wax? So cetyl alcohol, right? Cetyl alcohol. How clear? Simple lipids. Second class, that is B, complex lipids. Second class, that is nothing but the complex lipid. Second होता है आपका complex lipid. Complex lipid नाम में क्या रखा है? नाम में ही सब कुछ रखा है. कॉम्प्लेक्स है मतलब लिपिड का और किसी के कॉम्प्लेक्स है. Esters of fatty acid with the alcohol, and there is a additional groups like either phosphate group, nitrogenous base, carbohydrate or protein. Complex, it is a complex of esters of fatty acid with alcohol, and there is some additional like a phosphate or phosphoric acid or nitrogenous base or carbohydrate or protein. Based upon that, complex lipids are further divided into. Complex lipids are further classified into. One is a phospholipid. One complex lipid का पहला टाइप क्या है? Phospholipid. What do you mean by phospholipids? As the name indicate, there is a some phosphate group is there. Phosphoric acid is there. So these are the lipids containing phosphoric acid and frequently a nitrogenous base. तो phospholipids में क्या रहता है? Fatty acid esterified with alcohol. In addition to that, phosphoric acid as well as nitrogenous base. That is a phospholipid. They are the part of your सेल मेम्ब्रेन. जो मेम्ब्रेन होता है सेल मेम्ब्रेन उसका पार्ट होता है फॉस्फोलिपिड. ऑल्सो इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ नर्वस सिस्टम. सेकंड है आपका इसमें फर्दर फॉस्फोलिपिड्स आर ऑल्सो ऑफ टू टाइप. फॉस्फोलिपिड्स जो है उसको भी दो टाइप होते हैं. तो फॉस्फोलिपिड्स आर फर्दर क्लासिफाइड इनटू टू टाइप. फर्स्ट वन इज ग्लिसरोफॉस्फोलिपिड. Glycerophospholipid means what? There is a alcohol known as a glycerol. तो यहाँ पे glycerol is alcohol, means fatty acid is esterified with the glycerol, which is a part of phospholipid. Glycerol is alcohol. Example of glycerophospholipid is lecithin and cephalin. Remember the examples which are very important for exam. एग्जाम के लिए ये एग्जाम्पल्स याद करना. You have to remember the examples. So, glycerophospholipids. Glycerol is alcohol and example is a lecithin cephalin. Second one is a sphingospholipids. Here sphingosine is alcohol. अल्कोहल का डिफरेंस है. ग्लिसरोफॉस्फोलिपिड में ग्लिसरॉल एज अल्कोहल, स्फिंगोफॉस्फोलिपिड में स्फिंगोसिन एज अ अल्कोहल. एग्जांपल इज अ स्फिंगोमाइलिन. So phospholipids are further classified into two type based upon the alcohol present. अल्कोहल कौन सा है? अगर ग्लिसरॉल है तो ग्लिसरोफॉस्फोलिपिड, Sphingosine alcohol to sphingophospholipid. Now in the phospholipids, second class is a in the complex lipid, second class is a glycolipid. We are discussing the कॉम्प्लेक्स लिपिड. ठीक है, कॉम्प्लेक्स लिपिड में क्या है, पहला फॉस्फोलिपिड. फॉस्फोलिपिड में भी तो दो टाइप आता है, ग्लिसरोफॉस्फो, स्पिंगोफॉस्फोलिपिड. सेकंड क्लास इज अ ग्लाइकोलिपिड. एज द नेम इंडिकेट, ग्लाइको मतलब क्या, ग्लाइको इज द टर्म फॉर शुगर. इसमें क्या रहेगा, फैटी एसिड प्लस कार्बोहाइड्रेट प्लस नाइट्रोजनस बेस. So in the glycolipids you have three components, fatty acids, then nitrogenous base and carbohydrate. So यहाँ पे अल्कोहल कौन सा रहेगा, स्पिंगोसाइन. That's why it is also known as a glycerosphingolipids. So it is known as a glycosphingolipids. So glycolipids में fatty acid is paired with the sphingosine. Carbohydrate is there, that's why glycolipids. Also known as a also known as a glycosphingolipids. Example is a cerebroside. Cerebroside कहाँ पे होता है, obviously brain में. Ganglioside कहाँ पे होता है, obviously ganglia में. Cerebroside and ganglioside, they are the examples of glycolipid. If you have to remember what are the examples of phospholipid, what are the example of glycolipid, because they used to ask in the exam. Question आता है. Now third type of complex lipid is nothing but the lipoproteins. Lipoproteins, as the name indicates, they are the macromolecular complexes of lipid with the proteins. Lipoprotein, lipo for lipid and protein for, so macromolecular complexes of lipid with the लिपोप्रोटीन में टाइप होता है, जैसे एसडीएल, एलडीएल, वीएलडीएल, आईडीएल. तो लिपोप्रोटीन का काम क्या है, दे आर द ट्रांसपोर्ट प्रोटीन फॉर लिपिड्स. आर द ट्रांसपोर्ट प्रोटीन फॉर लिपिड्स. एसडीएल, एलडीएल, आईडीएल, वीएलडीएल. अदर कॉम्प्लेक्सेस ऑफ लिपिड, अदर कॉम्प्लेक्स लिपिड अपन ने देखा है, फॉस्फोलिपिड, ग्लाइकोलिपिड, लिपोप्रोटीन्स एंड अदर कॉम्प्लेक्स लिपिड, दे आर नथिंग बट द सल्फोलिपिड, अमाइनोलिपिड्स एंड लिपोपॉलीसेकेराइड. लिपोपॉलीसेकेराइड क्या होता है, दे आर नथिंग बट द पायरोजेंस. लिपोपॉलीसेकेराइड क्या है, दे आर नथिंग बट द पायरोजेंस. वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन दे आर मेटाबॉलिक प्रोडक्ट ऑफ योर bacteria. Lipopolysaccharide. Okay. Now next one is a derived lipid. First was a simple lipid, second was a complex lipid, third class is a derived lipid. So as the name indicates, derived matlab they are the derivatives of something. They are derived from something. They are the derivative of other product. Derived lipid means what? Hydrolysis. They are the hydrolysis product of lipids, which are a simple and complex lipid. So hydrolysis product of simple complex. They are the hydrolysis product of lipid soluble vitamin, then steroidal hormones, then hydrocarbons, ketone bodies, etc., etc. So they are known as the derived lipids. From the beginning of this lecture, we have came across the term fatty acid multiple times. तो जैसे लेक्चर चालू हो गया उसके बाद में बहुत बार आपको ये टर्म आया, फैटी एसिड्स. ये फैटी एसिड्स होता क्या है, कितने टाइप के होते क्या है. तो व्हाट इज फैटी एसिड? They are nothing but the simply carboxylic acid with the hydrocarbon side chain. तो आपका जो fatty acids होता है, what do you mean by fatty acids? Fatty acids are nothing but they are the carboxylic acid with the hydrocarbon side chain. Carboxylic acid, the hydrocarbon side chain. They are known as the simplest form of lipids. तो सिंपलेस्ट लिपिड क्या होता है? फैटी एसिड्स. Fatty acids are the carboxylic acid with hydrocarbon side chain. They are the simplest form of lipid. तो सिंपल लिपिड क्या होता है? फैटी एसिड. अब इसमें दो होता है, इवन चेन फैटी एसिड एंड ऑड चेन फैटी एसिड. इवन चेन मतलब क्या? देयर आर इवन नंबर ऑफ कार्बन एटम्स. The odd chain fatty acid means what? There is an odd number of carbon atom. Even chain fatty acid, for example, palmitic acid, which is having 16 carbon in the structure. Palmitic acid क्या है? Even carbon chain, even chain fatty acid. Stearic acid is having 18 carbon. Even chain. They are the most common. ना मतलब even chain fatty acid में palmitic acid, stearic acid are the most common. Odd chain मतलब है ना, इसमें इवन चेन मतलब 2 4 है ना, 6 8 10 है ना, 12 14 16 18 20 लाइक दैट. ऑड चेन मतलब क्या है? 1 3 ना, 5 7 9 है ना, 13 है ना, 11 13 15 लाइक दैट. ऑड चेन. So in the odd chain, propionic acid. In the odd chain, there is a propionic acid, 3 carbon containing fatty acid, and valeric acid. Valeric acid is a 5 carbon containing fatty acid. They are the well known amongst the odd chain fatty acid. So fatty acid क्या है कि carboxylic acid with the hydrocarbon side chain, and they are the simplest form of lipid. Fatty acid are up to type even chain and odd chain. इसमें even number of carbon atoms से उसमें even chain fatty acid रहेगा. Palmitic acid, stearic acid are the most common. Odd chain fatty acid में यहाँ पे odd number of carbon होंगे. Propionic acid and valeric acid are the most common. Right? Now, fatty acid, esters of what are the lipids? Esters of fatty acid with the cholesterol. Sorry, esters of fatty acid with the glycerol. So it is a structure of glycerol. ये क्या है? It is a structure of glycerol. So what do you mean by lipids? They are the esters of fatty acid with the glycerol. That's why structure of glycerol, CH2OH, CH2OH, CH2. So this hydrogen is removed. Hydrogen is removed. This hydrogen is removed. This hydrogen is removed. So here is the some carboxylic acid, 1 carboxylic acid, 2 carboxylic acid, it is a 3. So to esterify the glycerol molecule, you need a 3 carboxylic acid. So that's why they are known as a tricarboxylic acid. That's why they are known as a triacyl glycerol और ट्राइग्लिसराइड्स. तो एक मॉलिक्यूल जो है ग्लिसरॉल का, उसको स्ट्रीफाई करने के लिए आपको 3 फैटी एसिड लग जाएंगे, बिकॉज यू हैव 3 OH ओवर हियर. तो आफ्टर स्ट्रीफाइंग दिस कैन बी कॉल्ड एज अ ट्राइग्लिसराइड्स, है ना. क्यों? ट्राई फॉर 3 और ट्राइआसाइल glycerol. Here is one acylation, here is one acylation, and here is one acylation. So triacyl glycerols, TGs, or triglycerides. You can see over here the same. You number this carbon alpha, carbon beta, carbon alpha dash. Here is one fatty acid, here is one fatty acid, and here is one fatty acid. That's why it is known as a, that is why it is known as a triglycerides or triacyl glycerol. Now there was one scientist known as a Blur criteria for classification of lipids. जो क्लासिफिकेशन देखा है अपन ने, है ना, वो किसके बेसिस पे है? बेस्ड अपॉन द ब्लर क्राइटेरिया. नोबडी माइट हैव टोल्ड यू दिस. आपके कॉलेज में ये पढ़ाया नहीं होगा आपको. सो ब्लर क्राइटेरिया फॉर द क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ लिपिड्स. तो लिपिड्स आर इनसोल्युबल इन वाटर, पहला क्राइटेरिया है. दे आर सोल्युबल इन द ऑर्गेनिक सॉल्वेंट. ऑर्गेनिक सॉल्वेंट मतलब क्या? जैसे ना है ना, जैसे आपका बेंजीन हो गया, कार्बन टेट्राक्लोराइड हो गया या फिर आपका पिरिडीन हो गया. सो दे आर नोन एज अ organic solvent. So lipids are insoluble in the water, soluble in the organic solvent, actually or potentially related to the esters of fatty acid, and they are utilized by living organism. मतलब क्या है? मतलब these lipids can be utilized by living organism. Fatty acids may be either straight chain fatty acid. Fatty acid क्या है? We have seen what is fatty acid, है ना? Fatty acid means carboxylic acid which is esterified with the glycerol. So fatty acids or triacyl glycerols, they might be either straight chain. Fatty acid क्या हो सकते हैं? Straight chain हो सकते हैं, substituted भी हो सकते हैं. Straight chain, substituted and cyclic हो सकते हैं. Fatty acid में भी straight chain और straight chain with the substituted और मे बी साइक्लिक फैटी एसिड का एक एग्जांपल है आपको चावल मोगरिक एसिड. चावल मोगरिक एसिड, हम चावल मोगरा इज यूज्ड फॉर द लेप्रोसी, टू ट्रीट द लेप्रोसी. चावल मोगरा नाम का एक प्लांट होता है, तो ये चावल मोगरिक एसिड आता है, ऑयल, चावल मोगरा ऑयल, दैट इज अ साइक्लिक फैटी एसिड. देन अनदर वन इज देयर एडनोकार्पिक एसिड, एडनोकार्पस प्लांट आता है उससे. देन इकोसिनॉइड्स है ना, इकोसिनॉइड्स जैसे प्रोस्टाग्लैंडिन्स होता है, ल्यूकोट्राइन्स होता है, दे आर द इंफ्लेमेटरी केमिकल्स. प्रोस्टाग्लैंडिन्स, ल्यूकोट्राइन्स, दे आर आल्सो ए derived from fatty acids. Then saturated fatty acid. Saturated fatty acid मतलब fatty acid which is not having any double bond. अगर saturated fatty acid मतलब क्या है? Fatty acid in which there is no double bond. So saturated fatty acids उनका जो nomenclature है that ends with the anoic. Saturated fatty acid will end with the anoic. Unsaturated fatty acid मतलब क्या? There is a double bonds. Unsaturated fatty acids means there is a double bond that will end with the enoic. So it is a part of nomenclature जैसे. So saturated fatty acid will end with the anoic, जैसे linoleic, butyric, like that. Linolenic, anoic. Anoic means saturated fatty acid, anoic means unsaturated fatty acid. Isomerism, fatty acid में isomerism is also possible. So those which are unsaturated fatty acid, जो unsaturated fatty acid है, तो इसमें cis and trans isomers are possible due to the positions of double bond. For example, 15 isomers are possible of oleic acid. जो अनसैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड है जिसमें डबल बॉन्ड है, उसमें सिस एंड ट्रांस टाइप का ज्योमेट्रिकल आइसोमरिज्म पॉसिबल है. एंड फॉर एग्जांपल, नंबर ऑफ आइसोमर्स ऑफ ओलिक एसिड इज 15. क्वेश्चन ऑलरेडी आ चुका है. तो एग्जांपल्स ऑफ सैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड, अनसैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड, एग्जांपल्स देखो यहाँ पे. तो एग्जांपल्स ऑफ saturated fatty acids, no double bond in the structure. The first one is a acetic acid, का एक नाम है, तो it can be called as a ethanoic acid. स्ट्रक्चर क्या है? CH3OH. after that propionic acid, 3 carbon containing. then butyric acid, 4 carbon containing. valeric acid, 5 carbon containing. caproic acid, 6 carbon containing. caproic acid, 7 capric acid, then lauric acid, myristic acid, palmitic acid, stearic acid, arachidic acid, behenic acid and लिनोसेइक एसिड। देखो ना यहाँ पे है ना, प्रोपेनिक, ब्यूटानिक, प्रोपियोनिक, हेक्सानिक, ऑक्टेनाइक, टेट्रानिक, डिओडेक्नाइक ना, like that. So just remember these are the saturated fatty acid. कौन से? What are the examples of saturated fatty acids? So acetic acid, propionic acid, butyric acid, valeric acid, caprilic, capric acid, lauric, myristic acid, palmitic acid, stearic acid, behenic acid, arachidic acid and linoseric acid. These are the examples of saturated fatty acid. No double bond. यहाँ पे डबल बॉन्ड्स कितने हैं? 0 है. नंबर ऑफ कार्बन्स देखो, एसिटिक एसिड में 2 है, प्रोपेनिक एसिड में 3 है, that caprilic acid is 8 carbon, capric acid 10 carbon, decanoic acid, so linoseric acid is 24 carbon containing fatty acid. सेकंड क्लास होता है अनसैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड्स, दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर ह्यूमन, है ना. दे आर नोन एज essential fatty acids. Unsaturated fatty acids are also known as essential fatty acids. ऊपर क्वेश्चन आता है. So unsaturated fatty acids, first one is a palmitoleic acid. Palmitoleic acid. Palmitoleic acid is having 16 carbon atom. As it is unsaturated, there is a 1 double bond. देखो यहाँ पे palmitic acid 16 carbon containing total. There is a 1 double bond and that double bond is between 9th carbon and 10th carbon. Then second one is oleic acid. Oleic acid is 18 carbon containing unsaturated fatty acid. ओलिक एसिड में भी क्या है, 1 डबल बॉन्ड है, कहाँ पे, 9 to 10 कार्बन. नाउ लिनोलेइक एसिड. लिनोलेइक एसिड is also 18 carbon containing fatty acid. There is a double bond, 2 double bonds. First double bond is between 9 to 10 and second double bond is between 12 to 13. Now linolenic acid. Again 18 carbon containing fatty acid, but there is a 3 double bond. First double bond is between 9 to 10, second between 12 to 13 and third double bond is between 15 to 16 carbon atom. Fourth one is arachidonic acid, the 20 carbon containing fatty acid, unsaturated, 4 double bonds है ना. These are the positions where there is double bond. Now as these fatty acids, they are having double bonds, they are known as a unsaturated fatty acids, and the fatty acids which are having more than 2 double bonds, they are known as a polyunsaturated fatty acids. Polyunsaturated fatty acids, they are the essential fatty acids. Those fatty acids which are shown in the pink color, they are known as a polyunsaturated acids, and they are very important for humans because they are known as essential fatty acids. Why they are known as essential fatty acids? Essential fatty acids बोलते हैं. They are known as essential fatty acids. Why? Because in a human body there is no enzyme that can introduce a double bond beyond the 10th carbon atom. तो ऐसा बॉडी में कोई एंजाइम ही नहीं है जो एंजाइम डबल बॉन्ड बना सकता है 10 कार्बन के बाद में. That's why they are known as essential fatty acids. That is the reason for biochemical essentiality. You can see over here again Characteristic of fatty acids. Characteristics of common fatty acids. Even chain fatty acids कौन है? One chain fatty acids, acetic acid, butyric acid. Acetic acid is saturated small chain present in the vinegar. Butyric acid, caproic acid, है ना, they are also present in the butter. बटर जो होता है मामूल बटर वगैरह खाते हैं ना आप चाव से, so in the butter these butyric acid and caproic acid are present, and the smell of butter is also because of these fatty acid. They are known as a volatile fatty acid. क्या है? volatile fatty acid. As they are volatile in nature, they can be smelled from a distance. ना ठेला आपसे आधा किलोमीटर दूर है ना, इसका ठेला, दाबेली का ठेला आपसे आधा किलोमीटर दूर है, फिर भी यहाँ पे बटर का स्मेल आ रहा है. क्यों? Because of the volatile nature of this butyric and caproic acid present in the butter. So again, capric acid, lauric acid and myristic acid, they are present in the coconut oil. And very important, monosodium laurate or monosodium salt of lauric acid, it is very important for brain. That's why coconut oil is also very good for the health. Now palmitic acid, stearic acid, they are the saturated long chain fatty acid. Arachidic acid is a 20 carbon containing present in the peanut oil. Arachidic acid किसमें होता है? peanut oil में होता है. Now odd chain fatty acid, propanic acid, saturated, is the intermediate in the metabolism. Even chain unsaturated fatty acid, पहला है palmitoic, we have already seen palmitoic 16 carbon atom. It is known as omega 7 because at the 7th position there is a one double bond, that's why omega 7. Folic acid, uric acid and nervonic acid. Folic acid, uric acid and nervonic, they are known as omega 9 because they are having double bond at a 9th carbon. In nomenclature कैसे करना है I will explain. Linoleic acid and linolenic acid, arachidonic acid. Linoleic, linolenic and arachidonic, they are having 2, 3 and 4 double bond respectively at a, no, they are present in the vegetable oils. बाकी के जो है टिमोडोनिक and all these are present in the fish oil and brain. Branch chain fatty acid, isovaleric acid, present in the metabolism as intermediate. Now remember, fatty acids may be either non-essential. Fatty acids may be either non-essential. So all these saturated fatty acids, they are known as non-essential. Okay, these two are known as essential fatty, and this is known as a semi-essential. So non-essential, essential and semi-essential. Okay, now in a coconut oil you have 86% saturated fat. मोनो अनसैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड इसमें 12% होता है, पॉली अनसैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड उसमें 2%. इन द ग्राउंडनट ऑयल है ना, ग्राउंडनट ऑयल शेंगदाना तेल 18% सैचुरेटेड फैट, 46% मोनो अनसैचुरेटेड and 36% poly unsaturated. So that's why groundnut oil easily get spoiled. Then gingerly oil or til tel, so 13% saturated and 50% unsaturated. So monosaturation or unsaturation, they are very important. So polyunsaturated fatty acids are very important for body. Okay. Palm oil, in the palm oil we have 42% saturated fat, 52% unsaturated fat, and only 6% polyunsaturated fatty acid. Cotton seed oil, 26% saturated, 19% monounsaturated, 55% polyunsaturated. Then mustard oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, curdy, only 9% saturated fat, 12% unsaturated fat, and remember 79% polyunsaturated fatty acid. So very healthy oil is nothing but the healthiest oil to eat is nothing but the safflower oil. Safflower oil is the healthiest oil to eat, क्योंकि इसमें 79% पॉली अनसैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड होता है. अनसैचुरेशन मतलब क्या? डबल बॉन्ड्स. और डबल बॉन्ड्स क्या करते हैं? दे विल स्कैवेंज द फ्री रेडिकल्स. जो बॉडी में फ्री रेडिकल्स बढ़ते हैं, जो टॉक्सिक एजेंट बढ़ते हैं, वो उसको ट्रैप करते हैं. बिकॉज ऑफ द डबल बॉन्ड इट इज अ साइट फॉर ट्रैपिंग द फ्री रेडिकल. देन सनफ्लावर ऑयल है ना, सनफ्लावर ऑयल इज ऑल्सो गुड बिकॉज इट हैज ऑलमोस्ट 65% unsaturated है ना, polyunsaturated fat. देन बटर में 75% क्या होता है? सैचुरेटेड फैट होता है. ओनली 5% unsaturated fat. बटर इज ऑल्सो वेरी बैड फॉर हेल्थ. बटर इज वेरी बैड फॉर हेल्थ. ऑक्स ऑयल, पिग से जो पिग की चर्बी जो होता है उससे है ना. एंड देन फिश ऑयल देखो अगेन 57% पॉली अनसैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड. ऑयल इज ऑल्सो वेरी गुड. तो कौन सा ऑयल आपके खाने के लिए अच्छा है, कौन सा नहीं है? विच ऑयल इज बेटर टू ईट? तो बेस्ट ऑयल फॉर इट है ना, बेस्ट ऑयल for cooking and human body is nothing but the safflower oil. Okay, safflower oil. Then sunflower oil is also. Safflower oil, they are the best oil to be used. के बाद में बैड सबसे वर्स्ट ऑयल कौन सा है? वर्स्ट ऑयल इज है ना, वर्स्ट ऑयल इज बटर, palm oil, also कोकोनट ऑयल. सबसे वर्स्ट ऑयल है ना. खाने के लिए कोकोनट ऑयल यूज़ नहीं करना चाहिए, बटर ज़्यादा यूज़ नहीं करना चाहिए, पाम ऑयल यूज़ नहीं करना चाहिए. क्यों बोलते? देर इज़ अ रीज़न बिहाइंड दैट, बिकॉज द पाम ऑयल हैज़ ओनली 6% PUFA, पॉली अनसैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड्स. सैचुरेटेड फैट्स सबसे ज़्यादा कोकोनट ऑयल में होता है. सैचुरेटेड फैट जिसमें कम है वो ऑयल अच्छा है, अनसैचुरेटेड फैट जिसमें ज़्यादा है वो ऑयल अच्छा है. मोस्टली मस्टर्ड, मोस्टली safflower oil means curdy oil has 79% unsaturated fatty acid. Sunflower oil is also having 64% unsaturated fatty acids. Because unsaturated fatty acids, they are important in the body. They will scavenge the free radicals and prevent you from developing the cancer. Suppose that this one is a fatty acid. Fatty acid is numbered from carbon COH. तो फंक्शनल कार्बन है, उसको कार्बन नंबर 1 बोलेंगे है ना. दिस इज 2, दिस इज 3, this is 4, this is 5, 6, this is 7, this is so starting from carboxylic end. So starting from methyl end means methyl end, that carbon is numbered as omega 1, this omega 2, omega 3, omega 4, omega 5, 6. So whenever there is double bond, it is known as if double bond is between this 5 and 6 carbon, there is a double bond between this, it is known as omega 6. Likewise that, okay. Now saturated fatty acids कौन है, do not have double bonds in the structure. Example अपने देखा है valeric acid, capric acid, caprilic, lauric, myristic, palmitic, stearic, arachidic, behanic, linoseric acid. Unsaturated fatty acid मतलब क्या, there is double bond. If there is a 2 or more double bond, they are known as a polyunsaturated fatty acid, PUFA, which is very healthy. Oil containing polyunsaturated fatty acid, the healthiest oil for human. So palmitoleic acid has a 16 carbon atom, one double bond. The double bond is present carbon number 9. That's why it is known as a omega 9 fatty acid. Oleic acid 18 carbon atom, one double bond is at 9 carbon. That's why omega 9. Linoleic acid 18 carbon atom, two double bond between 9 and 10 and 12, 13. That's why omega 6. Linoleic acid 18 carbon, 3 double bonds, first between 9 to 10, second between 12 to 13, third between 2. This is known as omega 3 fatty. Arachidonic acid 20 carbon atom, 4 double bonds, position of double bond. Okay, so fatty acids, suppose this is a fatty acid, they are esterified with the glycerol, and will come, hydrogen will go as a water. Essential fatty acids, as I told you, essential fatty acids मतलब क्या, they are not synthesized in the body. Essential fatty acid not biosynthesized in the body. So example is linolenic acid and linolenic acid. Linolenic acid, they are essential fatty acid, and arachidonic acid becomes essential if precursor linolenic acid is not supplied. मतलब saturated fatty acids are non-essential. Linolenic acid are essential, but linoleic acid is also precursor for arachidonic acid. So if linoleic acid is present, then arachidonic acid is a non-essential. If linolenic acid is absent, then it becomes essential. That's why arachidonic acid is a semi-essential. तो arachidonic acid को semi essential क्यों बोलते हैं? Because उसका precursor अगर है तो ये non essential बन जाता है, precursor नहीं है तो ये essential बन जाता है. That's why it is known as a semi essential fatty. Let me ask you a question: which one is a semi essential fatty acid? Arachidonic acid is a semi essential fatty. Now why linolenic acid and linoleic acid are essential? What is the biochemical basis of essentiality? कि मैं बोलता हूँ लिनोलेनिक एसिड ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, दे आर द essential, but why? What is the basis of essentiality? So human does not have any enzyme that can introduce a double bond beyond the 10 carbon atom. Human does not have any enzyme that can introduce a double bond beyond the 9 to 10. That's why it is essential. That's why it need to be supplied from the right. So if there is a deficiency of essential fatty acid का deficiency हो गया तो क्या होगा? Essential fatty acid का deficiency अगर होता है तो that result in the skin condition known as a phytoderma. Phytoderma और toad skin, आपका जो skin है वो मेंढक जैसे हो जाएगा, characterized by horny eruptions and poor wound healing. And geometrical isomerism is possible in case of unsaturated fatty acid because of double bond there is a cis and trans isomerism. So for example ये So if these two bulky group are at the same side, known as a cis, and if they are on opposite side, known as a trans. Hydroxy fatty acid, hydroxy butyric acid, and hydroxy fatty acids, derivative of fatty acid, hydroxy beta hydroxy butyric acid. It is a ketone body produced in the metabolism. Beta hydroxy butyric acid क्या है? It is a kind of ketone body. Cyclic fatty acid में आता है चावल मोगरा acid, which is used from leprosy in the चावल मोगरा oil, found in the चावल मोगरा oil. तो देखो, functions of essential fatty acids. What are the functions of essential fatty acids? Essential fatty acids, they are the structural component of tissue. आपका जो सेल्स है, टिश्यू है, में ये essential fatty acids. Polyessential fatty acids are found in the gonads. Polyessential fatty acid gonadal organs में होते हैं. They are responsible for the synthesis of prostaglandins, leukotrienes, and other compounds. Again, they are a structural component of mitochondrial membrane. Polyunsaturated fatty acid decreases the serum level cholesterol. जो जिसमें ज़्यादा डबल बॉन्ड्स फैटी एसिड है, कोलेस्ट्रॉल को कम करने में मदद करता है. Polyunsaturated fatty acid decreases the serum cholesterol. Essential fatty acids increases the clotting time. Essential fatty increases the clotting time. Fibrinolytic activity. Essential fatty acid prevent fatty acid. मतलब जो फैटी लीवर होता है उसको भी ये इसेंशियल फैटी एसिड कम करते थे. आजकल तो ये बहुत इशू है फैटी लीवर. सफरिंग फॉर फैटी लीवर. फैटी लीवर इज बिकॉज ऑफ द मोस्टली बिकॉज ऑफ द अल्कोहल एंड ट्रांसफैट. है ना, ट्रांसफैट मतलब क्या है? सैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड. तो देयर इज अ डीएचए जो है वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर डेवलपमेंट ऑफ ब्रेन, and it is nowadays included in the lot of supplements provided for the children's. What is DHA? Docosahexaenoic acid. Docosahexaenoic acid is a precursor of linoleic acid. Precursor linoleic acid है इसका, docosahexaenoic acid, that increases the electrical response and photoreceptors for the illumination. DHA is docosahexaenoic acid. The polyunsaturated fatty acid is from alpha linoleic acid or obtained from the fish oil. Present in the retina, cerebral cortex, testis. It is required for the development of brain and retina. Supply is did via placenta. बचपन में बच्चों की ग्रोथ के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है DHA. अल्कोहल इन द लिपिड. अल्कोहल कितने होते हैं लिपिड्स में? ग्लिसरॉल होता है. ग्लिसरॉल, एरिकोलिन टेस्ट इज यूज्ड टू ग्लिसरॉल. देन कोलेस्ट्रॉल होता है, एटाइल अल्कोहल होता है. ग्लिसरॉल treated with the dehydrated, when treated with the H2O and sulfate colored. So in we used to test is used to take the glycerol. इसके ऊपर भी क्वेश्चन एक बार आ चुका. unsaturated alcohol जैसे फाइटॉल, in the chlorophyll, lycophyll in the tomatoes, pingosine, the amino alcohol. So remaining points will take tomorrow. Remaining points will see tomorrow. अभी ज्वाइन नहीं किए हो आप बच्चे कोई, that's why मुझे भी इंटरेस्ट नहीं आता. If you join tomorrow, can you for 1.5 hour, 1.5 hour